Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about. This is Culture Uncut. I'm your host, Jason Spears, and it's been a minute since I talked to you guys. Not much on the Colts news front, but I put out a thing for questions, and you guys came through. I got 26 of them. I think 26. Let me check. 26 questions. So this is probably going to take a while. It's going to be a long one, but try to give you what I know. I've been a bit sick and under the weather, so I haven't really been paying much attention to the Colts or really anything recently. I've been sleeping a lot and busy at the same time. So let's jump into these things. Question 1, and we'll go all the way from 1 to 26. What's the latest on Simmons? Any other free agents the Colts are talking to? And that's from Ingram Darrell 31. The latest on Simmons is nothing. They're still talking to him. I think there's other teams interested. It should come to a conclusion sometime soon, I would think. Every time I put one of these things out, like another guy signs. So I don't know if he'll be in Indianapolis or not, but I know that they've been talking to him, and he's just trying to find the best spot for himself. So that's it on him. And as far as other free agents, they're definitely talking to some people. The two that I knew about, one's already signed with I think the Commanders, or maybe it was somebody else. No, he re-signed with the Chiefs. It was a Menahu, and then also, who was the other guy? Zadarius Smith, who was with the Lions. I think he was traded to the Lions. They've been talking to him as well. They're looking for edge help. They need edge help, and they're looking for edge help. I think Smith probably goes back to the Lions, but they are talking. They've talked to him. Probably would be for 1 year. Again, Destin Adams, I talked to him periodically throughout the process, and he was on both of those things before I was. So I want to give him credit. He's been on point on a lot of this stuff. The thing with free agency that I tell everybody is, just because we talk to a guy doesn't mean he's going to sign. Other teams are interested in these players as well. Smith, I'm sure, is talking to multiple teams, not just the Colts. And again, I know that the Lions and Smith had a good partnership, and they're trying to bring him back. I don't know if that'll happen, but we shall see. But definitely, they're definitely talking to people, and I don't know all of the ins and outs of everybody that they're speaking to, but those were just two of the guys. They've talked to 3 edge guys that I know of, or actually 4, in the off season, and they've all signed elsewhere. So, well, 2 of the 3 have signed elsewhere, but the last one, he is still out there, and we'll see what happens with Smith. But it would probably be for a 1-year deal, or just 1 year. What does Steichen have to do to keep his job? That's from The Reason. My Eagles fan friend, I'm sure maybe they want him back in Philly, I don't know. But he's just got to win, man. They got to win this year, or it's going to be a wrap, I think. That's pretty simple. Will the Colts add to the tight end room? That's from Dime 78881. Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely gonna get somebody in the draft. They might even get 2 somebodies in the draft, because there's not a lot left on the open market tight end wise. So we'll see what happens. But yes, they definitely will. Is Ballard good with our guys up front? That's from CR Carver 89. Yeah, he's good with them, but he's still going to look to improve. I think they're looking at players in free agency, and they're also going to get some guys in the draft, I would think. I think you're going to see a tackle and a guard added, maybe 2 guards. I have no idea, but I don't know what way they're going to do it, but I definitely know they're interested in adding to the front. They want to make sure they have enough depth and talent. So I would expect, if they don't sign, the guy that I would like them to talk to is Jenkins, but I'm not sure they're talking to him, and I think he's out of their price range. Because Tevin Jenkins is when he's healthy is one of the better guards in the league. He's Fry's level good, but he can't stay healthy, so that's the problem. So I don't know if he's going to get a multi-year deal or a 1 year deal, whatever. But that's a guy that I would look at if I were the Colts. But I have not heard anything regarding that, so I don't know. But I do definitely think they're going to add up front on both sides, D line and O line. What does the team need to accomplish for Chris Ballard to keep his job? That's from @jbrew_20. Um, Make the playoffs, or at least, like play really good football. If we go like 11-6 or 10-7 and don't make the playoffs for whatever reason, I think he'll keep his job. But another like middling 9-8, 8-9 garbage, mid-season, he's gonna be gone. So, and it also has a lot to do with how well AR plays. That's dependent upon AR, I think. Let's see. Who should the Colts select at 14? That's from @SportsJunkie17. For me, it's either Jihad Campbell or Tyler Warren. Those are the two guys that I really want. They fit needs. They're really good. Even with the injury, I would still pick Jihad Campbell that high. I think he's going to be a special player, elite level talent. And, I just think he's going to come back from that. He's going to be fine. I would definitely take him at 14. It all depends, man. Everything, it depends on how everything plays out, what's there, what's not. But those are the two guys that I'm looking at 14. It's funny. Next question, Jihad Campbell. Do you think Jihad Campbell injury takes him off the Colts board? That's from @super_pony702. No, I do not think it takes him off the board. I think if he's there at 14, I think there's a good chance, depending on who else is there, that they take him because he's that good. I think he's going to be a really special player. Biggest need in the draft @Dyer23. I would say for me, it's definitely tight end. We have major holes in that room, and I wouldn't be surprised if we take two tight ends, to be honest with you. Maybe like a guy, Urasek, I don't know how to say his name, out of Georgia, take him late maybe, and maybe like Warren or Loveland or Mason Taylor, one of those guys. But we have to upgrade that room. They have to be more productive. So definitely think that's the position that we need to look at in the draft, and that's our biggest need for sure, in my opinion. We have other needs, don't get me wrong, but that's the biggest one. What week does Jones take over? That's from Cody Kunicki. Well, I don't think Jones takes over unless there's an injury, and I don't want to wish injury or say what week I think an injury is going to happen. So hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully we win a lot of games, AR gets better, and he doesn't see the field, except in blowouts. Do you see the Colts making any signings soon, or are they waiting for Hendrickson to play out? That's from @ZRNet2000. Here's the thing with Hendrickson, and I talked to Destin about this. I think he's going back to Cincinnati. I think you'll hear something over the weekend or maybe the start of next week, barring like an unforeseen like last second thing. I think that gets done. So yes, they are talking to other players. I don't know about making any signings soon, but I think they've moved away from Hendrickson, knowing that that's probably not going to happen. Why are we such a joke? What the F happened? That is from @Brandon Schlong. That's nice. Nice name. We're a joke because we've had terrible management the last few years, no quarterback play, no accountability, a horrible culture. We play our worst and biggest games, bad game plans, bad coaching decisions, bad free, not doing enough in free agency. I can go on and on. There's a million reasons, but mainly, the Colts, they just haven't been good enough, period, in any way, shape, or form, from the front office to the head coach to the players. Simple as that. Let's see. Do you see AR making any kind of positive jump this year? That's from at B Cam Larson 1. Um, yeah, I do. I think he made a jump after he got benched. I think he's going to make another jump this year. I think he's going to play a lot better. Will it be enough? We'll find out. But I definitely think he's going to make a jump. But I think he's going to be better this year. What past Colts player would you bring back? No quarterbacks this year and put on this year's roster. That's from at its underscore YEETETH. Don't know how to say it, so I'll just spell it. No question, Dwight Freeney. Pass rush wins in this league. We need pass rush. Absolutely. You put Dwight Freeney in this on that front next to DeForest and Grover. It just changes everything for everybody. So I would say definitely Dwight Freeney. A close second would be Bob Sanders. I think he would be crazy in this defense with Anarumo. But definitely would go with Dwight Freeney because he was just such a difference maker at end and at edge. So what? Oh, I just answered that. Where would you take a safety in this draft? That's from Brooks. Man, I can't read this. Brooks G24. I could be wrong. I would definitely take a safety in this draft. Maybe middle rounds or fifth, sixth round. 4 to 6 maybe. There's a lot of guys I like that could be available. Maxon Hook out of Toledo is a guy that I like. I think he'll be a late pick. I'm trying to think what other safeties I like. The kid out, Craig Woodson, I think is his name, from Cal. I like him. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of really good safeties in the first 3 rounds. I mean, there's a lot of really good ones. I like Malachi Moore from Alabama. I think that's his name. And there's a lot of really solid players coming out at safety. So, yeah, I would take one probably middle of the draft. Just somebody. I like Jonas Sanker, too, out of Virginia. I'd like to get like a guy that can play both free and strong, so you got a little bit of position flexibility with that third safety. So that would be nice to have, or maybe a safety that can come up and play some nickel, too. So like a free safety that is maybe a little smaller, but can come up and play some free safety, or can come up and play some nickel, excuse me. Gosh, it's late, and I am screwing up what I'm saying. So hope that answers that question. We are on to page 2 of the questions. Do you believe AR will bring us to the playoffs? That is from Beyond Sports CO. That is a great question and a tough question. If you mean this year, I think it's going to be close. I think he's certainly he's going to have us in the mix. I really believe that. I think he's going to play a lot better than people think he's going to, and I think we're going to be in the mix. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think this is a great division. I think every team has significant flaws that we're playing against. So it's all going to come down to how well we play in the division, and we just haven't played well enough to make the playoffs. The reason why we didn't make it in 23 is we weren't good enough in the division. And the same thing with last year. We weren't good enough in the division, and then usually that's the problem. When you're not winning games in your division, it's going to be hard for you to make the playoffs. So I do think we're going to be better this year, and I do think he's got a chance to take us to the playoffs. But we got to win divisional games against these teams. We have to win. We can't, get swept by Houston, split with Jacksonville, and sweep Tennessee every year. That's not good enough. It's just not. They got to win 4 to 5 games this year. Maybe, to have a shot. There can't be any more 3-3, 2-4 seasons. So, what do you think would be the most effective way for the Colts to address opponents' blitz rates this upcoming season? That is a great question. That is from @Nathan_M_White. Probably the best question of the bunch. That is a great question. Obviously, you've got to have people in it comes down to communication between the quarterback and the center, to call out blitzes and to know where they're coming from and to call the hot. It's communication. It's knowing what play to go to and then where to go with the ball. So that's on the center, and that's on the quarterback, and it's also on the head coach for coaching this up. So they have to be prepared. It comes down to film study, knowing what plays they're going to call, blitz beaters, whatever they're going to call, wherever they're from, whenever you can read them out. You've got to be able to slide the protection or move the protection to what you need so that you can get your play off and make sure that everybody is on the same page. Some of our problems in the past with this blitz heavy stuff is because we've had, Taylor in the game or somebody in the game that can't pick up a blitz to save their life. And that's a problem, and that's my biggest issue with Jonathan Taylor. He's a very one-dimensional player, which is why I think we need a three-down back in this draft that can do all three things. So it comes down to player recognition, play design, communication. They have to be better. I know that's not a great answer, but it's a rudimentary answer, a simple answer, because it's about those things: communication, play calling, knowing where the hot is, knowing who's got who. It's just about being preparation. It's about preparation, and they have to be better prepared. From the head coach to the quarterback to the center to the O-line, all those guys have to do their job, and then the back has to do his job. And a lot of the times that did not happen last year. So that is a very good question. To me, it's about communication and preparedness, preparation, and then those guys doing their job. But I do think you're going to see a lot of that again this year. Until we prove that we can block it up, I think you're going to see a lot of that. So we shall see, but a great question from Nathan M. White. Okay, who do you think wide receiver 1 is week 1? I mean, for me, it's always going to be Pitt, man. I mean, he played last year with like a broken back or a broken bone in his back. He struggled last year, but the fact that he's out there busting his ass every week, playing as hard as he can, he's my wide receiver 1. He's got to be more consistent. And get open more and make sure that when AR throws him the ball, he catches it and does the most he can with it. But he's still my wide receiver 1. I think our most exciting wide receiver is obviously, Alec Pierce because of his explosiveness. But I like our receiving core. I wouldn't mind adding another receiver, but I mean, to compete on the back end, but I like our receiver room right now. The biggest guy that has to step up next year to me is A.D. Mitchell, but our starters are set, and I like our room a lot. So, but yeah, Mike Pitt is always going to be my number 1 until proven otherwise. So, and I give him a pass for last year because of the back issues he played through. Warren or Johnson at 14? Definitely Warren, because I think we're set right now at corner, or at least in a much better position than we are at tight end. And there's only like 5 tight ends I like in this draft. So, and there's a lot more corners that I like than tight ends. Who do I take? I definitely take Warren. That's from, I can't even read what I wrote, so I'm not even going to say it. I apologize to whoever that was, but I write like a doctor, so I can't even read my own writing. A better question would be if Warren or Campbell was there. That's a much tougher question. I think I might still go Warren, but I don't know. I really don't know. That's a tough question. Because I don't think there's that big of a difference between Warren and Loveland. I really don't. I think both of them are going to be good. I could see Loveland having a better rookie year because I think he's a little bit more polished. But you never know. It's all about where you go, the team you go to, and the quarterback that's throwing you the ball. So, but back to the question, definitely I'm taking Warren over Will Johnson. And I love Will Johnson. Hendrickson update from Ice 8859. Basically, he's going back. As far as I've heard, he's going back to Cincinnati, barring something unforeseen happening. It should break sometime this weekend, or maybe next week. I don't know. But I think that's a done deal. They're working out the details there, but I think he's headed back to Cincinnati. Justin Simmons interest, tight end targets. That's from at Super City Indy Fan. I haven't heard anything about Justin Simmons' interest. I would guess he'd want to go somewhere where he'd start, and he would not start in Indianapolis. But I would be open to it, just like I'd be open to Julian coming back, because I still think I thought Julian was outstanding in coverage last year. He just stunk tackling because His shoulder was messed up from the Green Bay game on, so I kind of give him a pass too. I still think Julian's a really good player, and I would love to see the Colts bring him back, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it will, but I don't think so. Tight end targets, I'll give you the same names. All draft. Nothing really out there free agency wise, other than Conklin, and I haven't heard anything about him other than he's visiting somebody. I forget who, but not us. I would say obviously Warren, Loveland, Mason Taylor. Those are the top three that the Colts like. Arroyo, Gunnar Helm, Fannin. I don't know. I look at Fannin as more of like a slot guy. Like he's not. I don't know. Or an inline. Like he's just. I don't know if he can block well enough. I don't know. He's a little on the small side. I don't know if he can block well enough. But we shall see. We shall see. But those other guys are definitely tight end targets for sure. Chances of getting Will Johnson at solidkid_DJ. I mean, I think we could take him, but I don't think we will. I don't think that's a guy that we're going to take. I wouldn't be mad if we did because I think he's going to be a 10-year pro that you could easily throw on the other side of Ward and be set with starters. But I just don't think that's the spot where they're going corner. I think they're going to go edge, linebacker, or tight end in the first round. And that's where Will Johnson's probably going to go. So I would not think that we were going to take him, but I do think he will be available when we pick. Any interest in Kaiser White? That's from John Can, 67. Not that I've heard of, but I wouldn't. You never know. You never know. I haven't heard anything, but again, I haven't really been checking in much. I've checked in with Destin and not really with my guys this week, but I'll get back on it. I'll get back on it. I just wanted to do this and put this out because it's Friday and I wanted to get you guys some content. Let's see. What's the move at tight end? That's from at SpeedBlue23. I mean, I wouldn't be against picking up a free agent that can block, like a blocking tight end. I don't know what's out there. If Mo would come back on a cheap ass deal, I would bring him back. But because he's literally like the second ranked tight end free agent out there right now. I think Conklin's probably going to get overpaid. I think it's draft, man. I really do. I think it's draft, and I think they could double dip, but I don't know. The thing about the Colts I don't understand is they drafted Will Mallory and just never play him. It's not like they have great tight ends. They have some okay young ones, but like they took Will Mallory, I think, in the 5th or 6th round, and he can't get on the field. So I don't know. But they definitely need somebody that can give them some production. And really they need two guys because if the one guy gets hurt, I mean, Ogletree's not giving you production. Maybe, the kid from Virginia comes back healthy but you can't count on it. He reminds me of Julius Brents. He can't stay healthy. So I don't know what's going on with that. And guys, I hope he can stay healthy, but because he's so big, but it just hasn't happened. So we'll see, but I definitely think it's going to be done through the draft. I think Warren's probably going to be the guy, or Loveland, or Taylor. I know they like a lot. So we'll see what happens. Best move the Colts could still make. Worst move the Colts could still make. Best move would be, I think, bringing Tevin Jenkins in. I think the best move and the worst move could be the same move. Bringing Tevin Jenkins in could be the best move and also the worst move. Bringing him in could be the best move because he's as good as Will Fries. The way it could be the worst move is if we sign him to like a 4-year, $90 million contract and he's never healthy. So I would say the same guy could be the worst and best move we make. That's from @Nick CZYK. Don't want to mess it up. So I love Tevin Jenkins. He just can't stay healthy. I would like him to, wouldn't mind signing him to a 1 or 2 year deal, but I'm not going any further than that with the injury history. So we'll see what happens. More likely, Ballard moves up in the draft to pick Warren or back. Who does he target next? That's from John Jam 44024540. I think it's more likely he moves back. He loves his draft assets. I know he tried to trade up last year, but that was for like there's no Bowers in this draft, so I would think if he get the 14 and there's nobody that he really likes there, I think he could trade back and take Loveland like at 22 or something, or 20, or I definitely think trading back is an option. Because we really need as many picks as we can get to create more competition and on this roster. So I would think trading back if his guy's not there, I think he would trade back. Let's see. Other free agents the Colts are talking to. What would you like to see? Who would you like to see brought into the linebacker core? That's from Big Shot Blake 470. So right now I know they were talking to Smith, who was with the Lions edge. I know they're talking to Simmons. They're still in contact with Hendrickson, but I just think that's going another direction. I would like for them to talk to Jenkins and a few other players, just to, especially because I feel like we need some veteran offensive line depth to go, because Tanner it's going to be a tough first year for him, I think, or not tough, but he's going to learn a lot on the job, and I don't really know if we want to go through that with two guys, but we'll see what happens. And then as far as linebacker goes, I'm not sure what else is out there. I know I don't want EJ back. We have Carl Eyes. I like there's quite a few guys I like in the draft. I like obviously Campbell I've mentioned, but Carson, and I don't want to mess his last name up, out of UCLA. Mondon Jr. from Georgia, King from South Carolina. I'm trying to think. Like there's a lot of linebackers. I like Kaiser from Notre Dame, the coverage aspect. Yeah, we have two playable linebackers right now, and then I forget a Jumbi, or however you say his name, the African guy. I can't remember how you say his name, but when he's had to play, he's been good. But we definitely need to upgrade that position and maybe add a player or two there, whether it's a veteran linebacker or a couple of younger players. The Colts have really been good at drafting linebackers, so one position I trust Chris Ballard is linebacker. He has been really good at picking linebackers. So whatever he decides is best, I trust him when it comes to that position. That is the position that he knows best. So that's it, guys. That's a 26-pack of questions. I hope I answered them. I'm sure a bunch of news is going to break when I put this out, and then I'm going to look like an idiot. But it is what it is. But I appreciate all the questions. I mean, 26. You guys got those out quick, and I appreciate that very, very much. So we'll see what happens this weekend. I think you're going to hear some Hendrickson news one way or the other in the next few days. And we'll see what happens as far as the other signings go. I think the Colts are still, engaging with people and talking to people. Obviously, I mentioned the ones that I know about, but I'm sure there's others as well. And I just think they're trying to get as much talent as they possibly can on this roster to make sure that there is not any let up. There has to be competition. There has to be guys, that have to make these guys work even harder than they've ever worked before. And I think that makes the team better in the long run. So I think you'll continue to see Chris Ballard aggressively look for free agents that can help this roster, whether it's back end or starters or, rotational players, whatever it is. I think he's going to continue to search throughout the league, whether it's free agency or cuts from other teams, for guys that can really help this roster and make the players on it a little uncomfortable, frankly. And I think that's what they need to be. They need to be uncomfortable. It can't be one of those things where I know I can play like shit and nobody's coming in. They can't take me out of the game because the guy behind me's so bad they won't take me out. No, it's got to be like I can't fuck up because if I do, somebody else is going to take my job. That's what I want. I want them playing like that. I want them knowing they got to be on their game at all times and play hard at all times. Because look, I can live with mistakes, but mental mistakes I can't live with, and making a lot of the same mistakes over and over I can't live with. When you start doing that, you should lose your job. So I definitely think that they're going to continue to search and look and add, and they will. And I think that's great for the roster. I always believe in making players uncomfortable in terms of playing time by adding competition, and I think they've done that. They did it with AR by adding Daniel Jones, even though I think AR wins that handedly. They're putting them on notice, and I think they should do that with every guy that underperforms or doesn't do his job well enough. So whether they're young or old, so I expect to see more of that. I think they'll sign more players. I wish I could give you more specifics, but right now I don't really know much. But I'll probably get back into the swing of stuff next week, and we'll see what's going on. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for the questions. I will be back probably next week, one way or the other, whether it's a Q&A, Irsay story, or, breaking news, updates, Colts sign guys, or maybe the Hendrickson thing finally ends, the saga ends. I think he ends up staying in Cincinnati, but I will be back next week. Hope everybody has had a good week and has a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. This has been Culture Uncut with your host, Jason Spears. Thank you for listening. I'm out.